Hello Pisces, and welcome to your in-depth monthly horoscope for February 2023 for the Sun or the Ascendant. Thank you so much for joining me. Now what I'm going to do is outline some key features. Please stay with me. I will then share in forensic detail all the ins and outs particularly relevant to your sign. And the most exciting event of this month is not the Sun entering your sign or the new moon in Pisces. It's something else, and it involves Venus, which starts this month in your sign but then glides into the sign of Aries from the 20th. Now that's not Venus's best position, so it's said. I actually think it's one of those detriments that can work quite well because it's very much about initiative. But by the end of this month, Venus is going to be doing two things that really fills me with a lot of expectation on your behalf. But it is true that on the 18th, the Sun arrives back in your sign for the first time after 11 months. And there is also that new moon on the 20th. So lots to share with you, Pisces. Please stay with me for that. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for joining me again. If you're new to my channel, I've had 29 million views on YouTube, and if you'd care to subscribe, comment or like, I'd be absolutely delighted. Please click on the or tap on the bell notification symbol. However, if you've yet to order your year 2023 personal forecast, so you can rise above this zodiac broadcast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can give you your forecast for the next year, and also your life roadmap in my special package of 30% off, which helps you to understand some of the deeper patterns that have come up for you, good and bad, and help you to become more intimate with how to deal with these and how to gain traction from working with your strengths more closely. Also, in my special package, you can get your zodiac forecast for the year, your Chinese and Indian forecast too. Please see the link beneath this video. So Pisces, your February begins with the Sun and Saturn located in the rather sheltered 12th house. But if anyone can deal with the Sun being there, it's you, because the 12th house is very much in keeping with the core energies of your sign. Can be a little bit in need of quiet and reflection and a peaceful environment. But you do have Venus in your sign along with Neptune. And Venus is a very charismatic influence. So if you decide to have a clear out of some old wardrobes or drawers and give yourself some kind of fresh new makeover, it really would be perfectly timed. But of course, Saturn is still in house 12, and that's a much more formidable opponent, if you like. But as you begin this month, so the Sun in this location is angling brilliantly to Mars, and if you've been trying to make some changes to where you live or how you live, particularly since the end of August, from August the 20th in particular, when Mars went into your 4th house, but that's been slowed down by Neptune in your sign squaring with Mars across October, November, first week of December, but also because of Mars's retrograde from the 30th of October through to the 12th of January. So it wouldn't be a surprise if something that's important to you that's felt incredibly frustrating at times. But this alliance between these two planets gives a lot of thrust. So even if you are working through something that's more sensitive or something to do with some deep research, or you're thinking very carefully about what you want from your future, even all those can really take on more energy. But on the 5th there is a full moon, and this full moon is in the sign of Leo. So for you, this is house 6, very much to do with the practical sphere of life, being organised, being well structured, being efficient, having a bit of virtue around what we eat and drink, whereas the Sun is located in house 12, back in that spiritual, psychological and emotional domain. But they're being intercepted by the restless, chaotic energy of Uranus. So over the following 2 weeks, if something isn't quite picking up speed at the rate you want, you could feel somewhat on edge. But it's a good time just to be aware that, particularly in your professional situation, someone you would like to be more cooperative than perhaps they're prepared to be might not necessarily tell you if they've got any grumbles with your performance, but a bit of backbiting could go on around that full moon. So keep your guard up to a degree. But from the 8th to the 12th, Mercury is in your sector of friendship and forges a deep alliance with Pluto. So if you are wanting to really think into the longer term about what you want from life, some powerful conversations or thoughts can be threaded through those days. But then on the 11th, Mercury moves into your 12th house too. And this could just, certainly until the Sun moves into your sign on the 18th, could see you just wanting to push back on too much interaction with others. Now, of course, we've got Valentine's Day on the 14th, and the Sun is side by side with Saturn in the 12th house. It may be that an old issue could get dragged up in a conversation that day, perhaps with someone you're involved with, or if a relationship isn't going very well, this could be a conduit for some grumbles to come out, which is not incredibly romantic. But equally, if you're lucky enough to be tethered to someone who really, really shares your commitment and is really invested in the relationship just like you are, this can be a time when you can really think, we may not want to go out and be particularly interactive with others. We may want to stay in a haunt we know well, or we feel very cozy and comfortable in, but at least we've got one another. So it just depends on what you want from your Valentine's Day. If you're single, I think having Venus in your own sign, but this combination between the Sun and Saturn could make you feel that, very unfulfilled. But of course, the Sun then enters your sign on the 18th, and that really gives you the chance to spark greater energy. You're going to move into the moment more. The moon's conjunct Pluto on that day, so it can be a good day to actually reach out to a friend or associate you haven't heard from, and you may be surprised by the warmth of the response you get. But on the 20th, Venus moves into your second house. Almost straight away, some kind of financial good news could manifest itself for you. But also on the 20th, of course, there's the new moon in your sign. But this is going to be conjunct Saturn, which is just tucked into the last few degrees of Aquarius. So it's not necessarily going to give you a monster amount of fresh energy. It's asking you actually to narrow your focus and really just work on the things that are critically important to you. So that may mean some ongoing strands that you want to just push over the finishing line. That's where the hard work should go. Or if you are starting something new, don't waste your energy too much on scattering yourself around various different options without really carefully thinking them through before getting stuck in. But then Venus forges an enormously beautiful alliance with the Sun in your sign in the last week of this month. And something that's important to you can start to give you a sense of greater self-worth, or it can help your bank balance. But on the 27th and 28th, we reach that pinnacle of the month as the two planets of fortune come into an alliance in your second house, and this really can be very, very good news. The good news could come in a financial context. There could be some fortune in if you have a little bit of a dabble. It may be something you've worked towards. This can be quite a frivolous link. One of the things I would say about this combination is that if you've been trying to be much more careful about what you're eating and drinking as part of your New Year resolutions, any kind of diet is going to be tested in a big way on the back of this combination, because this is really going to activate your sweet tooth if you've got one. If you're more of a savoury person, you'll certainly be attracted towards something that's very yum, but also a sensual moment is possible in a romantic context. But generally speaking, Venus conjunct Jupiter is very much a feel-good influence in a world which obviously has a lot of worry, strife and challenges. So I think this is something you're really going to appreciate as this month draws to a close. It's been a pleasure being with you, Pisces. If you do sub, like or comment, it would be very much appreciated. All the best for now.